Which one? The one now, she was saying that is because. Is it? Okay. So that is real deep, but I don't think I've seen anything else. Very old work, maybe Monday, March 16th. Or longer than that now,
Good evening, welcome to Economic Development and Tourism Committee, and we will start the meeting at 6:02. James, could we get an update from you, please?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Last month, we had a brief conversation about transit figures. Legislator Lanuto requested a year-over-year analysis for the past 3 years. Because last month it presented just 2025 numbers, but I think it's really useful for us to see a comparative analysis of what ridership looks like. And we have the data, which is great. I'm having trouble accessing the data and working with it so I can build a spreadsheet. So I don't have that update for you tonight because of the technical problems that we experienced over the past week or so. However, I will have that for you next month. And the bright side of it is that I'm going to have enough time to do a comprehensive historic analysis. So we'll be able to go back and compare ridership figures to 2017 all the way up to 2025. So we can get a really high level comprehensive look at the system and as it relates to the number of folks using it. Secondly, though, the Transportation Advisory Board started meeting again. We've had 3 or 4 meetings. It's sort of a hiatus. And we've settled on a survey that we're going to release to the public so we can gauge folks from the area in the system, primarily focused on riders initially, understanding sort of what's working well for riders, what isn't working well. And then the last part of the survey is more driven toward public input and just trying to get a general sense of general population. So we figured out that we need about 93 responses in order for it to be representative of an appropriate sample size for the ridership numbers. So when that is released, I'll make sure you all have an email copy. We'll have print copies available too. But if you could forward on to your constituents and we can get that much more of a response and have a really good snapshot of what that looks like. And it's good because we're finally engaging with the general public and riders and understanding the system from their perspective. Any questions about transit?
No, I appreciate that, James, looking into that. And what I'm hearing from the ground level is there's not enough awareness about the transportation that's available. So we can just get the message out more on whether it's social media or even on bulletins around some of the towns. The stands set up on main streets and stuff so that the community can know that we actually offer public transportation.
It's coming more to the front side of discussions, I think, even more so over the past 5 years, and you're going to hear from workforce development professionals very soon, but transit is considered a wraparound service that, labor needs. So it's a required service for a successful labor force. So, and a lot of communities, especially many of the ones you represent that are going through downtown revitalization processes, they're wanting to know more about the system and trying to increase access through those plans too. So it's still prevalent, still widely used. We're just trying to nail down the data.
Yeah, that's really the spring ARC program that we bought into.
Yeah, they're the operators for the system. So administratively, we handle the high level paperwork, communication back and forth with DOT. They're the ones who are boots on the ground. They have the drivers. They have staff dedicated to support the system. So
yeah, there's also different programs that support that system, whether it's a DOT program or 404 program, different levels of service and different providers that are using that service.
Yeah, Human Services has a piece of it as well with the folks that they serve. It's a really widely used service, so I'm happy to take a look at it.
Specifically designed for their clients. We just piggyback on, right?
Yep. There's technically 2 separate DOT programs. Amanda's program is called 5310. The main Greene County Transit that's there for the general public, the 5311. So we work pretty closely internally to make sure it's well served. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. We have some guest speakers tonight. LWDA consolidation update by Brian Williams, the Executive Director of Capital Region Workforce Development Board, and Amanda Parks, the Executive Director, Columbia Green Workforce Development Board. Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you?
Thank you.
Take it away.
Thank you so much for having us. I know I presented to the full group a number of months ago just about the public workforce system and generally what we do. We had a really great conversation. And this is the kind of the next step and the next piece of the conversation for really growing this service on the ground for the people who live here. A little bit of a background, we've been engaged in these conversations before I was even the board director. And the reason our local area started discussing a consolidation on the administrative level of our local area is because we know this is coming. We know this is coming from the federal level. We are a federally funded program. The congressional act that funds our system is going through reauthorization. And part of that conversation is the consolidation of local workforce areas. New York State told us this is probably coming in the next 5 years. So we really wanted to take the initiative where we are, and be really the building blocks for that conversation in New York State, show them how to do it from the practitioners on the ground so that service can expand and not be negatively impacted. I think the state is very happy with us because we are basically building the model with them right now. And what this will do in the end on the ground doesn't look different for our customers, except there's actually more money for them because the high level administrative costs are funneling going away. My position, whoever is in it down the road, whether it's myself or someone else, will be staying local in Columbia and Greene County to ensure that the high level strategic initiatives, things like transportation, childcare, those wraparounds that impact the local labor market are here and focused. And we will just have a different administrative structure. Overall, we'll be able to expand and align our resources. We have a lot of businesses that border our local areas that either have two sites, one site in Greene County and then another up in Albany, or we share employees, we share customers. This is just really going to streamline those services and really be more fiscally responsible at the end of the day. And thankfully, we've got an amazing partner in our Capital Region team and Brian Williams here, who I've been working with now since I call him for everything. Since I've been newer in the role. He's been doing it for 20 years. So we're taking the formal steps now. Both of our full workforce boards have voted to move forward on this, but the local areas and our local area government are really the drivers and the investors in this program. So this is the step we're at, is to come before all of you and really answer any questions about what this would look like, and just see if we can be here to give you a frame of reference and hope that you support us on this consolidation.
At the end of the day, it's shared services, right, to use local government language. We don't need two fiscal people, we don't need two program people, we don't need two performance and QA people and stuff like that. So, no. And we're one labor market. At the end of the day, what percentage, like 60 some odd percent.
Yeah, 62, I think.
Commute
Back and forth.
right? So when we're talking to businesses, because we're a business driven system, at the end of the day, I say this all the time, like if we're not listening to businesses as a workforce development system, we're all a bunch of frauds. Because at the end of the day, they are the end users of the product that we're building with the humans. And instead of Common as an example, having to meet with completely different organizations to get the same exact service, to get the same businesses they need or employees they need, they can just meet with one on that end. So we in the Capital Region, when we walked into this discussion 2 years ago now, it makes sense because we're one labor market in that aspect. We're one regional economic development council area, REDC area in New York State. And as Amanda said, at the end of the day, this is coming. So we're doing it the way we wanna do it locally, as opposed to the governor or someone at the state saying, you need to do it this way. And honestly, we are gonna be the first in the state to do this. So how we're doing it here, they're gonna be using it as a template for central New York and western New York that are even looking at what we're doing.
And being the representative right now and overseeing Columbia and Greene County, it's really important for me that Columbia and Greene County have their equal place in this process, which is why I've really pushed for that high level administrative position to stay located here, right? To be able to continue to have those conversations with all of you and put out, what is relevant and what is important on the ground level. As the smaller area is high performing, right, we don't want to get lost in the shuffle either. So because we can coordinate the structure how we want it and see it being effective, they're allowing us to do that.
And to be clear, my board and myself, really, we wanted nothing to do with this. If it was going to change service is in Columbia or Greene counties. At the end of it, my wife was from Hudson for a while. She worked at Questar for a number of years. My son dated for a number of years someone in Athens. So Columbia and Greene counties are my adopted counties anyway, in that respect. But honestly, we had an executive committee meeting with my board the other day and they wanted an update. They wanted to know, like, let's make sure we're ensuring that the services are being enhanced to Columbia and Greene counties, because if not, we really don't have an answer for this.
And I live in Greene County, so really important for me that these services are here and better. So we'll stop there and answer questions.
Question for you.
Yeah.
I noticed that CDTA now moved over into Montgomery County. Is that something that would potentially, something that we could look at, partner with them?
I would say yes, but
Yeah,
more than
we've had conversations with people at CDTA or affiliates. There's a general desire to expand, especially in the New Baltimore, Coxsackie region, because of the industrial parks. And continuing service from Bermuda or Southern Albany County that is already there. Running a few miles down 9W wouldn't be too much of a lift.
Well, I'm thinking for our folks from Greene County, it could.
Absolutely.
Yeah, or at least connect with the existing GCP network.
Correct.
And then plug in there.
Correct.
Having, us to kind of advocate for that too.
Yeah,
From this kind of larger regional perspective, I think could be.
I mean, they expanded Glens Falls as well, so there was that no man's land really that was in between Saratoga and Glens Falls that folks couldn't get to. So, I think CDTA is looking to expand the services. I think the Montgomery County, asset was really the school district. That was the catalyst of that. School district said, hey, can you transport our kids? And that's what got that really into Montgomery County. Carmen's great, hello Carmen. No, he's well, obvious now.
So basically, we're under one umbrella for like a labor pool, right? So we're equivalent to like an Ethan Allen or, except it's funded by taxpayers, correct?
So our system is federally funded under a congressional act, and the money goes to the New York State Department of Labor, who then distributes it.
They pass it through.
Yeah, and they pass it through to local areas, there's some things like labor market data and unemployment rates and statistics, it's broken up into what's called local areas. Our current local area is Columbia and Greene County. This will make our local area a 5-county area. So, but the population, the unemployment, that's all gonna stay the same. They actually did some numbers for me, and Columbia and Greene County area gets more money under a consolidated, like under the formula that the state uses. We'll get more money in some of our funds just because of the way the numbers work out. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yes and no.
So what do I need to expand on?
So the services provided,
Yeah.
right, the services provided through your
Yeah.
career center and our career center really is to help unemployed, underemployed people get back to work. In good, unsubsidized, careers, real. So the services, unlike say Ethan Allen, right, which is really an employment agency, we're not really an employment agency, we're not putting people on our payroll. like, we're working with businesses to get them employed.
So we are.
No fee.
Yeah, because it's public service, it's
Yeah.
taxpayer money, so we are paying for things like training programs up to a certain amount of money for someone to,
Get the CDL license.
that's a very popular one for us, CDL. It has to be an in-demand industry for your area, so we can fund training for, industries that a local area needs. So CDL drivers, the trades, healthcare programs are really, really important in this area. We also can, if, let's say they're enrolled in a community college program, they get Pell, right? But we can support things like uniforms, books. So we work with the law enforcement, the one-year law enforcement program at Columbia Greene. We had students who got funded through tuition, but couldn't afford all of the other things that they would need to be successful in the program, like their uniforms, like some of their equipment. So for eligible people, for us, we can pay for that. We can do transportation reimbursements for someone for the first few weeks that they're going to work, that maybe they need to get their first couple paychecks to be able to get a car. So something that would stop them from accepting a job because it's farther away, we can subsidize that for them. Childcare subsidies, anything to get someone successfully into sustainable employment and then become more self-sustaining down the road. Those little pieces that kind of block people from engaging those conversations. We've been having, because we also have a location here, right? Thank you again for the office here in the building. The past couple of weeks, we've had tons of appointments, referrals from social services downstairs, people doing job search, coming up, getting resume help, getting connected with the job postings that we know about that will complement their skill sets. And then we work with businesses on the other side, connecting them with the Department of Labor for things like tax incentives and really just kind of the overall picture of anything that's workforce development and labor market related.
We do a lot of free programming for businesses,
Yeah.
like HR seminars, and like new managers and new supervisor and trainings, and it's all free.
And Rachel's vice chair of our workforce board, so she's here to support the conversation. Because we are public service, everything we do is free. People can
And what
come
you
in.
say about the budget is it's still a separate budget for Columbia and Greene counties with more money, but still completely separate from the other counties.
Yeah.
Meaning service directly here.
So we have people that live technically, right, maybe in Albany County, but it's closer to them to come get our services. They can't do that right now. They're driving up, to Albany
Finding
because
parking.
finding
all that
parking
jazz.
or vice versa, right? This is really just gonna, I think, align the services in a more efficient way for the people who live here. They don't have to choose.
There is conversation right now with DOL too, that since we're the first ones in the state establishing this sort of precedence that other areas can build a roadmap from. There's conversations about a potential additional one-time incentive because we're taking the rates to do that. So that could be a one-time infusion of additional money.
We're pushing for that.
There's
There's
also
also,
a test too, I've been vice chair for a few years, so even before Amanda was in her role, it was coming down from the state that there's eventually gonna be a forced consolidation. And, that's just something we've been having to think about for a couple of years, and now more than ever, it made sense for us to try to move forward with a program that looked how we wanted it to look and not how the state or the governor says it has to look. And so that's just kind of the opportunity that's in front of us right now.
Yeah, it's nice when you can define the operating
Yeah.
manual.
Exactly.
well, because we're doing the work, right? And some of the other states that have gone through this process, Ryan and I connected with the CEO of the Association for the National Workforce Boards. And he's worked with other states through this where it was coming from the top down.
Yeah.
And it
It
was.
has not been.
And, I think specifically with the rural areas that we're in, both Columbia and Greene, the last thing that you all want, or we all want, is somebody who is operating out of a city or an area that looks nothing like ours, telling us how our programming should look for the people that live here, when it's really different than, the people that they might already be working with or living with.
And to be clear, I live in Rensselaer County, not Albany.
But even so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're not
But no,
at a state level,
No,
we're
I-
talking
I'll
about,
understand.
people,
Yeah.
like, you're talking about people who, a lot of people coming from New York City that, like, we look very different than
Our needs
Yeah.
are different.
Yeah. Yeah, and I always try, I always have in my 30 years of doing this. You know, I do often feel that the urban areas get a lot of the attention, right?
Right.
But when you're looking at Wooded Falls, right on the Vermont border, like they're the forgotten land, right? So we always, when I was commissioner in Rensselaer County, I made sure that we had services, you know, in Wooded Falls, in Berlin, you know, in Petersburg, to make sure that everyone got service.
Yeah, our staff right now have appointments up in Prattville, right? They're working with our local community partners. I've been doing a lot of outreach to say, we have these great kind of hubs of service in both Columbia and Greene County, Catskill and Hudson, but we have customers who can't get there. Right? We know transportation is an issue. So, you know, working with our community partners to say, hey, can we send staff in maybe one afternoon a week? You know, when you have traffic, we're going up to, you know, like the libraries, places, and trying to get the word out about that. It's been a lot, we're going through this transition right now, but I'd love to expand that because,
It's service to them.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how you get people in the door.
Yep.
You know, if they can't get here, they're not gonna take advantage of the services that we offer them for free.
Right.
Get better jobs. They have to know about us and be able to access us. So,
Well, I mean, we've had these conversations
Yes.
before, and I think what you guys provide is more of a hand up instead of a handout. And I just think we need more awareness, because the general public doesn't know the resources that are available that are being provided for free to help them get employment, or even for business owners, the resources that are available to find them the employees, or to have fund, or some of those incentives that are out there for the funding.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
awareness, we gotta get more awareness.
So I think interestingly enough, we felt the same way, right, in even in our area, so, you know, we brought on a business services director, whose job is really go meet with businesses, find out where the pain points are, all this stuff. And when I was going through the interviews, I had a lot of workforce people in a file, and they were good, but I had this other gentleman who applied, 0 workforce development experience, but had a lot of marketing experience. And I said to myself, I said, well, this job is really a sales job, like it's going out and marketing and stuff like that. I can teach you the workforce stuff, and we're always preaching transferable skills, right, in our industry. So we hired the individual who had 0 workforce development experience, and it didn't hurt that it's also meteorologist Tim Drawbridge, who during the day works for us, and in the evening does the weather. So when he's making a phone call, we got that name recognition.
And we're
too.
gonna
So
have
he's doing a
access.
lot of our social media and marketing stuff.
We're gonna have access to that marketing team
Yeah.
as we expand into a larger area. That's part of the problem, is Brian and I are one person responsible for an entire system. So when we can funnel this funding in a way that's a little bit more efficient, we're gonna be able to grow things like the outreach and the marketing. It's not me, right, on the Facebook page,
Right.
trying to make sure that I do that on top of the compliance, on top of the.
We've already had
outreach.
discussions on marketing plans and outreach
Yeah.
stuff and testimonials and all that stuff, so
I'm gonna
that's
send
all.
everything to you, Mike, so you can share it for us.
Really what happened when our executive committees met and we got to know each other and we talked about goals on each side was that we were all looking for more resources, and that's just exactly what this is. This is, you know, ultimately way more resources in the way of people. You know, having Brian, having the people who he has on his team already, you know, like from an operations standpoint, from a marketing standpoint, all those things. These are the resources that we have not had available because we haven't had the budget to have that available. And the budget was really just the consolidation of resources, which for us would mean a lot more.
And I think finally, at the end of the day, right, like this also gives us an opportunity to get more resources coming in from the non-federal side,
Yeah.
you know, like the National Grid Foundation or
Yeah.
other places that are seeing the work that's happening, that, you know, we can actually, in a larger area, get more resources.
Yeah, with the federal money, you know, like we can't get grants and things, but we can get things through things,
Yes.
like you said,
Correct.
but with, you know, Columbia and Greene workforce just being Amanda on the development side and then just basically 2-3 employees, it's hard, you know, you can't take care of all the customers and divvy all the services that we're already doing and do all the extra stuff, because we just don't have the resources or the power to do it.
Yeah. Any other questions? And I'm happy, you know, you can reach out to me at any time if the question pops in your head, or you just want to know more about the exciting world of the federal workforce system and how it's organized. I'm happy to have that conversation.
Very
Yeah.
enlightening.
Yeah.
It's nice to hear that you're working with social services here in this building.
Yeah.
Get those people, you know, back to work.
That's been working quite well.
Like, they've been great partners. I mean, it makes sense. We're sharing customers, but the more the people we work with, the less that they have to work with too. And right, that's what we do.
Saves local dollars.
It saves local dollars, right?
Especially like Amanda said, really grateful to be in this building because people don't wait. They leave social services and they immediately come upstairs. They don't go home and let something get in the way and.
I have to worry about getting somewhere, coming back for an appointment.
Information, to get back here. They're already here. They just
We're
walk
walking
down.
Our three centers are set up very similarly. In Schenectady, they're in one office, in Rensselaer County, they're in one office, and in Albany, they're literally across the street. So
Yeah,
it's I call it a system because that's what it is.
right. And Columbia and Greene County have kind of just been very differently set up
Mhm.
from the other systems, and this is our true opportunity to make it, jive with what's already working, I think is one of the main points.
And it's so appropriate to come to this committee because workforce development is economic development and vice versa. You can't have one without, you can't grow a thriving local economy without a workforce to come in. And that's where, we just kind of partner so well. So it's a.
Well, probably your most popular program that most people might be familiar with is how many kids you employ in the summer youth program. And that's all, they employ 100 kids throughout both Columbia and Greene County. They go work directly with local businesses and they get their wages, their insurance, everything paid for. And
Through our state.
yeah, and just me being on the board, that's the thing I get asked about the most from other businesses is, hey, like, we need someone for the summer. And so, to have more resources for that program alone.
And to be able to get our young people into local
Yeah.
experiences, so they
People
don't
can
stay. Right. They get that training and.
Right off
Make those
after
connections.
they've stayed, they find careers in some of these places, and those are the things that we want for this area.
Having you do.
Welcome for good hands. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll move right into the bonus action item.
Darryl, if you don't mind, I forgot to ask a question. James, since April from the IDA, we haven't seen one in a couple of months. Would you be able to provide an update as to what's going on with the hotel up in Jefferson Heights, Expressway?
Yeah, I'm not aware of any additional delays. I know that construction was supposed to start in the spring, so I would imagine something between April and May. But I can get a hold of April and see what at least the latest is.
Thank you.
And send you some, I'm email too.
So there's a mailbox there now.
So that's it.
That'll be a good sign. Nobody's moving in. Early reservation. Oh, that was it?
If there's nothing else, we'll go on to the repeat action item. Number one, authorizing application to consolidate and merge Columbia Green Workforce Development Area with Capital Region Local Workforce Development Area.
Handle.
True.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Be there none, so carried. Reappointing member to the Board of Directors, Greene County Economic Development Corporation.
True.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Be there none, so carried. Setting a public hearing, Community Development Block Grant.
Going to?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Be there none, so carried. Authorizing public hearing, Community Development Block Grant Amendment Application.
Well, there.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Be there none, so carried. If there's no other business to be brought before the committee,
Motion to adjourn.
There, we did have legislator Lennon on.
So motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Right.
thank you very much.
First, and I know that, yeah. you. Bye, guys. Thank you.
You're gonna want it down there, yes.
Yeah. Good evening. I'd like to open up government operations at 6:31. I'm a little unclear. Did you wish to speak or only if you needed to answer questions?
If I needed to answer questions,
Okay.
I think, you know.
I will go right into the resolution then. Number one, correcting assessment roll, town of Prattsville. David and Kathy Yeager, tax map ID 58.00-3-40. Megan O'Connell. All in favor?
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Number two, authorizing an increase in the county clerk fees, mortgage tax retention.
Blake.
Leg, I will second that resolution. Is there any questions on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Is there anything else to come up between? Yeah. If there are any questions for real property tax, we do have Audrey on hand. Okay, if there's nothing else, adjourn. Second. Thank you.
Audrey, you look disappointed.
Happens. Exciting one, that's okay.
There you go.
Okay, we'll call finance committee order. That, if it's still, maybe we'll get through it.
I'll try.
Okay, first, resolution authorizing agreement between the highway department and Greene County Soil and Water Conservation District. Under David Moyer. David Sackett, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number two, authorizing agreement with Auction Internet. True.
Davis.
David Sackett, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number three, authorizing purchase of asphalt hot box.
Blake.
Blake,
Davis.
David seconded it, all in favor of that?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. Number four, accepting formal proposal for construction inspection services necessary for the county Route 23B Main Street slope failure remediation project town of Cass.
Rita.
Lavera. All in favor of that?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Number five, awarding bid and authorizing contract for the operation of household hazardous waste collection event.
Davis.
Davis, Mr. Lake, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and carried. Number six, authorizing highway department to enter into an agreement with CDM Smith for construction inspection services to replace Route 61 River Road bridge over Coxsackie Creek. Number 3-30291-0 town of Baltimore, PIN number 1761.91. Second that. All in favor of that?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. That's a long time coming. Number seven, authorizing county highway and solid waste superintendent work the replacement of the county Route 61 River Road bridge over Coxsackie Creek, PIN number 3-30291-0 town of Baltimore, PIN number 1761.9. And your.
Aye.
Opposed, also carried. Number eight, authorizing county highway and solid waste superintendent work the county Route 23B Main Street slope remediation project in the town of Cass.
Rita.
Who made it? I know. Lavera. All in favor of that?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. Number nine, establishing capital project 156, county Route 23B slope stabilization task.
Rita.
Udo, Lavera, second, all in favor of that?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 10, establishing capital project 179, emergency service IP network. Readiness grant program.
Lavera. Davis.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. Number 11, authorize agreement, Greene County Department of Human Services, Aging and Home Needs, Eastern New York, DBA, Trinity Health Alert. True.
Later.
Wait,
Mr. Lake.
like second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 12 is authorize agreement, student internship placement agreement between Greene County Department of Human Services and Catskill Central School District.
Lanudo.
Dino? Later. Winter second, all in favor of that? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. 13, authorizing contract, Central Gas and Electric Corporation, Greene County Justice.
Davis.
Second, Mr. Slater. Lot of money, we gotta have it done. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 14, nation advertised bid, capital project 161, Carroll Senior Center.
Aye.
Through the flag. All in favor?
Aye.
All that's carried. 15, authorize increase in county court fees for tax and Martinez. David seconded. All in favor of that?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 16, authorize the sale of MREN property tax map ID number 19360 22.05-4-34 through New York City Department of Environmental Protection.
Lake.
Blake,
Davis.
David second, all in favor of that?
Aye.
Oh, that's carried. 17, record assessment roll, town of Preston, David and Kitty Jagger. Tax map ID 58.00-3-40.
Lake.
Blake,
Davis.
Dave, that's Blueberry.
No, Davis.
What do you second also? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 18, your appointing members, Greene County Board of Electrical Examiner. Linger. Linger, Blueberry second, all in favor?
Aye.
Oh, that's carried. 19, budget amendment, capital project 125, County Route 61, River Road, bridge over from South Creek. Linger. Mr. Lake. Clear second, all in favor?
Aye.
Oh, that's carried. 20, budget amendment, authorizing purchase of 5 radar system, Greene County Sheriff's Stop DWI program. Second.
True.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, that's carried. 21, budget amendment to authorize the purchase of Peace Field Junior Legislative Chamber.
Davis.
Davis,
Winner.
Winter second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried, thank you. 22, budget amendment. Rev 250 donation. Blueberry.
Davis.
David second, all in favor?
Aye.
Oh, that's carried. 23, authorization pay claims item. Blueberry. Fair, I'll second it, all in favor?
Aye.
Oh, that's carried. 24, authorization pay claim, Martinez.
Legs.
Sure. Ladies and Davis, all in favor?
Aye.
Oh, that's carried. All the resolution. We'll like to have with us our treasurer. Bill.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Greene County payments on delinquent taxes. In summary, the collection of delinquent taxes for February of 2026 totaled $268,255.53 compared to $171,679.03 in February of 25, or an increase of $96,576.50. Year-to-date payments for 2026 collections are $649,153.08 compared to $789,333.75 in 2025, or a decrease of $51,131.25. Greene County delinquent taxes. In summary, the amount due Greene County for delinquent taxes as of February of 26 totaled $6,854,623.57 compared to $7,604,970.27 in February of 25, or a decrease of $750,346.70. Sales tax received to date for 26 is $7,983,526.54 compared to $7,557,974.44 in 25, or an increase of $425,552.10, or a 9.57% increase. Greene County town collection status. Total due from towns this year will be $36,999,795.22. Payments received from towns for the current tax receipts total $14,935,783.55 to date. So we're making pretty normal progress, but as you can see, the sales tax is up again.
That's just for the first 2 months of the year, right?
That's gonna take you through the payment. It's 4 payments through 3/13. So our last payment was just this end of last week. So that's the first 4 payments of the year.
Is that,
Does that encompass up to March? It doesn't encompass.
No, just up to March 13th. So we still have the rest of this month still. So yeah, it's going, at the end of the payment in February 14th, or just 1 month prior, we were only up 2.51. So we've jumped up almost another 7.5%.
does that take into account the short-term rental? Sales tax?
For this year, but last year it did not.
Right, and, I don't have the short-term rental broken out on this, but that's a good question to find out how much an account it may be taking. But being it's relatively new in that process, I haven't targeted it yet. Quite frankly, the cannabis numbers have only finally begun to work out and flow fairly normal. So, and that's been over a year in the making. So hopefully we'll see what this number looks like in short-term rental. And why don't I add that as an extra report for me? See where that's at.
All right, and fortunately, payers aren't even due till March.
Correct.
So we may not, be a month before we get the details of that.
And I mean, it just rolled out.
Talking with Dave Lucas at NISAP today, and he thinks he's figured out a way to break out that short-term rental sales tax. Because the state's not doing it, but he thinks he's found some coding.
Yeah.
That it's being distributed to. That's what we can do, it's definitely it, there are things you may have a way to separate that out.
Yeah, that'd be good to know. Just for accounting.
If you recall, that was a question that we had a couple months ago that the state had not yet put their hands around. So if you remember, my comment at that time was, let's hope it's not like the way the cannabis taxes rolled out, because it took some time to get their footing, if you will. Well, we're gonna give them the benefit of the doubt for the moment, that the checks are coming in. So, the next thing I have for you is your top 25 delinquent property taxes. I wish I had something to report for you there. We have none of our top 25 paid in this past month. So we have no update there. The total due at this point, the top 25 is 2.212 million. And approximately 45% of that comes from one property that most of us are familiar with.
Have an option.
I would tell you, I would defer to the county attorney on that somewhat. As many may assume that property may be as much of a liability as is an asset. And until we know we have a real buyer with a real plan, I don't think we would get in the chain of ownership on it for the potential liability of it.
I took Peter Marcoux, Maria Kaplan, about 6 years ago, we wanted nothing to do with it.
It's underground tanks, gasoline, propane tanks.
Yeah.
Every window in place is not,
I think my suggestion that it might be a liability is an understatement.
very much so.
I really don't have anything else for you this month. Guess I'm agreeing with Audrey, pretty quiet month. Do you guys have any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Pete. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll be forward by it.
Motion close.
Oh,